So, on today's episode of Mental Health, I've got a fellow colleague and a mental health nurse by the name of Alex, and she's going to be talking about her highs and lows through the pandemic, what she found hard, what she found difficult, what she learned about herself, and if there's any advice for people that is going through mental health, and what she can advise. So thank you, Alex, for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So the first question I want to ask is, during the overall, how have you found the pandemic?
At first, it was more difficult because I'm not a person that's used to staying in my house a lot. But I slowly got used to it, and it's not so bad now that restrictions have started easing. But obviously, at the beginning, it was quite isolating and quite solitary, which I found quite difficult because I'm not a person that's usually on their own a lot. I usually spend most of my time with a lot of people. So I found that part quite difficult.
Okay, and then so in terms of going through the pandemic, did you find ways of adjusting to like you said, did you find ways to adjust into being secluded, or was it like?
I think that a lot of people chose to do online meetups with their friends and their family. I didn't really do that so much because I don't like being on camera. I don't like being on the phone a lot. So instead of that, I decided to take up some more hobbies. So I started painting, I started playing my ukulele, and I started reading a bit more. And so to fill my time rather than just watching TV all the time, which can get really boring. I didn't really I adapted quite quickly, I think, because I'm an adaptable type of person. But I know that for some of my friends, they really, really struggled because they live on their own, for example, and they couldn't go and see anybody, and that was really tough for people. So I was really lucky because I live with my partner. I was really lucky that there was always somebody here with me. But I know it has been a struggle for people that live on their own, especially.
Yeah, so you just mentioned that you found ways of adapting to playing your ukulele, doing a bit of painting. When you did do that, did you find that your mental health was slightly improving, even though we have been living through a pandemic?
I think all things like that can help with mental health because it just helps you to refocus on something that isn't so inside of you. So you can sort of, it's cathartic. You can get it out and put all of your emotions and all of your efforts into creating something or playing something. And I think that can be really helpful for any sort of mental health condition, to be able to express yourself and to get all of it out there.
Yeah, and also you mentioned as well, you were living with your partner during the pandemic. So did that kind of help your mental health as well? Just being able to talk to someone when you were having a very crap day, or did that help as well?
I think that it if I'm being honest, I think it helped and also didn't help at the same time, because it was helpful in some respects that there was someone here, I could talk to someone, I wasn't on my own, we could cheer each other up and we could be there for each other. That was really positive. But obviously sometimes people do have disagreements. Yeah. And I think that when you have disagreements but you can't leave your house or you can't go somewhere else and talk to someone else about it, you have to stay in that environment. That can be quite difficult, I think, for people's mental health. I know it was difficult for my mental health, like for my sort of anxiety or sort of depressive symptoms, that was quite difficult, being in a space with somebody that you have an argument with and you can't leave that space. that I think was quite hard, and I think a lot of people can relate to that as well, because we're not used to being just, even people that live with someone, you're not used to being with that person 24/7.
Yep.
Especially working from home as well. We're both working from home, so we're literally with each other 24/7, and I think that can be really, really tough, and I know that a lot of people have struggled with that as well.
So can you like pinpoint a high and pinpoint a low during the pandemic, and also can you just like explain to the viewers how you kind of like resolved the high and resolved the low?
I know a low was definitely at Christmas time, when we were told that we weren't allowed to go round to family for Christmas. That was definitely a low point, because my family loves Christmas. It's one of the highlights of the year for us. I mean, I know it is for a lot of families. And my mum really does go all out. So she was very upset that we couldn't sort of go around for Christmas. And it made me upset, thinking that she was upset about it. But we just resolved it by sort of trying to remember and be thankful for the things that we did have and the people that we did have around us. And just remember that it's not going to be forever. So what we did was we had another Christmas, but we had it a couple of weeks ago, so we could have more people around the house. So my mum still had all her Christmas decorations up. We still had all the Christmas food, and we just pretended like it was Christmas, but in the summertime. That might have been one of the highs, actually, the high that resolved the low, because I can't remember feeling really excited that we were in lockdown, other than, when the restrictions eased and you just, feel a little bit more like you can breathe.
Yeah, so for anyone that is going through like mental health issues, what would your advice be to them so what would your advice be to them as a mental health nurse, and also as just a human being?
As a mental health nurse, I would definitely encourage people to speak out when they're feeling any type of way. Usually people don't speak out because they don't want to be a burden to other people, or they're embarrassed. And I'm telling you that all of your friends and family will much prefer for you to talk about whatever you're going through than for you to end up, with terrible mental health problems, or, in a bad way, because you didn't want to be a problem, because you're not a problem. Nobody's a problem. And everyone will always want to help you. Everyone that loves you will want to help you. And I think that's really important, because I know that I definitely am a person that, feels like that. I don't want to be a burden to somebody, and I don't want to get in somebody's way, or get in the way of someone's day by telling them the problems that I have. But what I've come to realize is that people want to hear your problems, because they want to be able to help you so that the problems don't get worse. And I think that's really important, and people need to remember that. Even when you're feeling alone, there are people that love you, and want to help you. And I think that's the main thing, I think. And also, if you've got the means to do so, take up a hobby or get a pet if you can. I mean, I've got 2 tortoises, and they've been really loving the sunshine, and it's been really nice sort of playing with them. And I know that you've got a cat, and I know he's lovely and he's loving the sun, isn't he? So I think that it's just nice to have that pet company as well, if you can get into it. I think that's the main points of advice I would give.
Okay, I think that wraps it up. Thank you so much for agreeing to do the interview, and hopefully, it's wrapped up. Thank you, Alex.